A report suggests Thomas Frank's position at Tottenham Hotspur is not under any immediate threat at this time. Spurs are in advanced talks to appoint Manchester City executive Carlos Rafael Moasen as head of football operations. A report suggests Spanish giants Real Madrid want to buy Mickey van der Ven in January. And a report suggests in The Guardian that Thomas Frank is running out of time to fix Tottenham Hotspur. Here are your daily Tottenham news headlines. Hello, welcome back to the channel. My name's Craig and here are your daily Tottenham news headlines where I'll be going through all the latest news, rumours and reports. If you're watching on YouTube and are not already yet subscribed to the channel, please consider doing so. Like, share and comment below. And if you're listening on an audio platform, please do hit that follow button and leave a review if you can. Okay, let's get into it. Give Me Sport report that Thomas Frank's position at Tottenham Hotspur is not under any immediate threat, journalist David Ornstein has revealed. The North London side remain behind the Danish head coach for the time being amid their disappointing run of form, with only 2 wins in the last 9 Premier League games. Ornstein suggests that while Tottenham Chiefs want to see an improvement both in performances and results, they remain fully behind Frank during a particularly difficult period for the club. The Lily Whites fell to a 3-0 defeat to Nottingham Forest on Sunday, marking their 3rd loss in the last 5 league games. Ornstein stated the word coming out of Tottenham Hotspur tonight is that they fully support Thomas Frank and they are backing him. That the leadership at the club, of course, now it's in a more full-on way, the Lewis family, after Daniel Levy was sacked in September, you could say this was a first sort of true test at their control of the club. And everything that we're hearing at the moment is that they are squarely behind Thomas Frank and that they want to see improvement in the team and also, of course, results. Now, it's been a particularly difficult period for them and there is concern in the fan base clearly. There are regular meetings taking place and we're told that within these meetings, of course, Thomas Frank and his position are being discussed, but not in any abnormal way. Then there's no suggestion coming to us that he is under any immediate threat. Since beating Everton 3-0 on October 26th, Tottenham have won only one of their last 7 Premier League matches against Frank's former club Brentford 2-0 last weekend. The Lily Whites have taken just 3 wins from their last 11 games across all competitions, including Champions League victories over Copenhagen and Slavia Prague. Sitting 11th in the Premier League after 16 games, Tottenham host Liverpool on Saturday and visit Crystal Palace on Sunday 28th of December in their final 2 games of the year. Give Me Sports state that Tottenham Hotspur are in advanced talks to appoint Manchester City executive Carlos Rafael Moasen as head of football operations, journalist David Ornstein has revealed. The North London side are expected to reach an agreement from the highly rated executive who has spent the last 10 years working for clubs within the City football group. Moasen currently serves as the company's director of football transactions, a role that includes negotiating contracts with potential and current Manchester City players. His move to Spurs would mark another high-profile executive change in North London following former chairman Daniel Levy's departure in the summer. Ornstein, writing on X, revealed that Tottenham are in advanced negotiations to hire Moasen, as stated, as head of football operations, and Moasen worked for Major League side DC United before joining City Group New York FC in 2015. He has held several roles during this time at the club before becoming a part of the global football operation at CFG, where he has risen quickly through the organisational ranks and is highly rated internally. Team Talk state that a report claims that Real Madrid have identified a Tottenham centre-back as their #1 transfer target in January and believe if he agitates for a move, he can be bought for just €50 million. That player is Mickey van der Ven, who has arguably been Spurs' best player this season. Despite being a centre-back, Van de Ven is remarkably the club's second top scorer across all competitions with 6 goals. Only Richarlison has more with 7. Transfer insider Dean Jones was recently able to verify Real Madrid's interest in signing Van de Ven. However, Jones was also informed that Tottenham would put up a fight of all fights before selling the player, and even if they did, they'll demand much more than the Spanish media are claiming a deal can be struck for. Jones told Team Talk Van de Ven has been mentioned in the same way that Madrid have looked at Ibrahima Konate, Dayo Upamecano and Mark Gay. But it is different because those 3 players are becoming free agents, and that is a market Madrid are very keen to exploit when they can. Obviously, Madrid have the power to turn any player's head, but they would have to pay big money for him, and Spurs really do not want to lose him. They consider his experience and leadership to be absolutely vital, on top of the fact he's a great defender and can also be a threat in terms of scoring goals. And the Guardian state that Tottenham Hotspur's Premier League campaign has faltered dramatically, leaving manager Thomas Frank running out of time to fix Spurs issues, with the manager himself coming under increasing scrutiny as the North London club registers its worst start to a season in nearly 2 decades. Spurs slumped to a 3-0 defeat at Forest on Sunday, their latest poor showing in a run of just 1 league win in 7 matches, leaving the mid-table in 11th place with 22 points from 16 games. That tally is the club's lowest after this stage of a top-flight season since 2008-9, underlining how steeply fortunes have declined since last season's European triumph. The manner of the defeat at the City Ground was particularly concerning, with Spurs creating only 1 shot on target and defensive errors punished by Callum Hudson-Odoi and Ibrahim Sangare. Frank, appointed in the summer following Ange Postecoglou's departure, has struggled to extract consistent performances from a squad bolstered by big-name signings including Xavi Simons, Mohamed Kudus and Matisse Tel. Key absences through injury have compounded Spurs' attacking woes, but the attack of creativity and cohesion has sapped confidence on and off the pitch. The 3-0 loss has reignited fan frustration, with supporters openly voicing dissatisfaction and calling for clarity on Frank's future. Internal debates continue at board level following the departure of long-term chairman Daniel Levy, leaving the club hierarchy to weigh up whether to stick with Frank or seek change that might arrest the slide. While the season is not yet beyond rescue, the growing signs of a decline have sparked questions over whether the former Brentford boss can steady a side once tipped for higher honours. Okay, well, here's my thoughts on all those stories today. Firstly, this article about Frank's position being safe for now from, I believe, sources inside the club and from reputable sources too. So it looks like the Lewis family are going to be giving Frank a little bit of time yet. How long that is, who knows? If performances don't improve, you would think they're going to have to reassess the situation at some point, however. You know, we've got some big games coming up, and not many come much bigger than the game on Saturday against Liverpool at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. So I'm going to be hoping that Thomas Frank can turn things around starting in the match against Liverpool. Personally, I don't want to be downbeat, but I just can't see it happening. I'd love to be proved wrong, by the way. I've just seen so many results. I think we've got a big enough sample size this season so far. And you could talk about injuries all you want. Other managers have had injuries and have done better, essentially. And I think it's just the style of football, if the fans could see, we spoke about it so many times, about the style of football and the way we're playing. If we could see a plan, fans could get behind it. Just give the fans something they can get behind. And all will be well, essentially. And then you're in January transfer market. Can we get some players in to support the manager? You would hope so. Apparently we are going to be spending money, but obviously we're told, oh, it's difficult. Frustrating, absolutely frustrating. But for now, as far as we're led to believe that Thomas Frank's position is safe, personally, I don't believe it. I think there's going to be a limit, is what I'm saying. He may well be fine before the new year, but there's going to be a time when this is looked at again, and it will be constant. Obviously, with the board, they're going to be looking at how we're doing, what league position we're in, at the performances and everything. They're going to be looking at everything. So, but look, let's hope Thomas Frank can turn it around. If they're going to be backing him. Let's hope Frank repays that trust, essentially. The new head of operations, don't know much about this chap, but again, it signals big changes behind the scenes at Tottenham Hotspur. This guy has apparently been involved in transfers amongst other things. So what does that mean for Johan Langer or Fabio Paratici? Does that mean he's going to come in as their new boss for head of football operations? I would imagine he will be in charge of that. So does that mean one of them goes? Does that mean Langer steps aside? Who knows? Who knows? But yeah, don't know too much about this guy. Comes highly recommended, apparently, and has done a lot of good work. But again, it's a huge change at Tottenham behind the scenes. We've seen so many changes since the summer, with Daniel Levy's departure, Donna Cullen going, Lewis family getting more involved apparently, Vinay Venkatesham, everything. There's been so many changes behind the scenes at Spurs, and it continues. So let's hope this new appointment can get some signings in January, or at least influence the signings in January. Van de Ven wanted by Real Madrid is not surprising. No idea what Real Madrid's FFP situation is like, but as the report suggests, they do like to go for players that are out of contract, the likes of the ones stated like Konate, Upamecano, that sort of player. So no doubt they're going to want Van de Ven. Of course they are, and it's always a worry when Real Madrid come in for a player or show interest in a player. 9 times out of 10 that player goes. I would hope Spurs fight to keep Van de Ven, whether that be in January or the summer. He's an integral part of this squad. We can't lose Mickey Van de Ven. But more than anything, I want this club to tie Mickey Van de Ven and players like him down to long-term deals. At least then that will kind of ward off the interest of Real Madrid. If you've got a player that could go for 40, 50 million, if that figure is near 100 million, it creates a bit more of a or less of a battle, should I say, to keep the player, because you know the fee you can demand is a lot higher. So let's get Mickey Van de Ven tied down to a new deal, please. By the way, he's done a really good interview with Gary Neville on the Overlap, so go and watch that. That's a really good watch. And the final report that Frank is running out of time at Spurs, a bit contradictory to the first one, but in essence, is what I was talking about, isn't it? You know, he's been given a stay of execution, if you like. So Thomas Frank's got to turn this around, and he's got to start producing results and start producing performances on the pitch. And then, like I say, if he's something the fans can get behind, that's all the fans want. If they can see progression, if they can see attacking football, if they can see intent, the fans will get behind it and get behind the manager. But the fans have got to see it, and it has to start against Liverpool on Saturday. That's all from me today. Get down in the comments, let me know your thoughts on being a Tottenham Hotspur fan at the moment, or any of those stories today. And as always, come on you Spurs.